And that's the sounds of electronic R&B collective Hills, which there's a link to my next guest, because that's how I actually came across my next guest. He's from North London, an artist, a producer. Tommy Saint is his name. He's in the studio with me now, and he's steadily building a huge fan base who love his husky tone, atmospheric composition, and genre blending approach to music. I first came across him on Instagram because he collabed with Hills and their track I Don't Wanna, which I've played on the show a few times, and if not, definitely go and listen to that. But that's what locked me in. But for many of you that already know, you probably locked in with Could You Please or Elixir, gaining over 3 million streams. He's dropping another track tonight. We're going to have an exclusive, and he's in the studio with me. Tommy, how are you?
Oh, good. What's going on? How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How have you been? How's 2025 treating you so far?
It's been good. Just work, really. Just working away, getting this new music ready, you know. Living, doing what I'm doing. You know what
so
I'm
you're
saying?
still living. You've got that work-life balance.
Yeah. It's a little bit hard sometimes to do the both, but yeah, I'm trying to make sure I do both.
Yeah, because we can see you're working.
Yeah. Trying.
You're everywhere. We're seeing you on TikTok, Instagram. That's how I came across you. And you know what, with your music as well, you really do hear all the different genres blending into it. And I think even with your choice of visuals that you create, you can tell that there's a lot of influences. So tell us actually about your journey with music. What were you listening to growing up?
I feel like growing up, it was a lot of, first stuff growing up was Michael Jackson, first and foremost.
Ooh, okay.
Every video of me as a kid, there's Michael Jackson playing, I'm dancing in the living room, you know, that was my whole thing when I grew up. And then as I got older, it started being I got introduced to Kendrick from my older friends around like Good Kid, Mad City times.
Yeah.
And so that was just huge for me. And that was like the first time I kind of like really would just sit with the music. Because before that I was kind of just dancing or whatever or moving around, but this was the first time I kind of sat with it, and so Kendrick was huge for me, of course, as for most people, honestly.
Yeah.
And then I would say that was like my main two growing up, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then tell us about your journey with music, because that sounds like you were just listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did it turn into something more that you wanted to create your own music?
When I was like 13, 14, I started making music with some friends. Nothing serious, but we kind of just started messing around a little bit, writing raps or whatever. I started working. And then I kind of knew I wanted to start taking it more seriously when I was like 15, 16, coming towards the end of school. So that's when I decided to go and study production. So I went and studied music production, and I kind of like properly sunk my teeth into it then. So properly from like 16, but a few years before that, I'd kind of started meddling with it a little bit.
And that's quite early on to make that decision, so much so that you're going to study it. Because a lot of artists haven't gone to study music production and such. What did it really, like, what did you learn from that per se, that like, you know, now when you're creating music, you're like, thank goodness I studied music production?
Yeah, I think it was more just like the amount of, like every module was on something different. So I think just the variety of things that I learned. It wasn't like one specific thing.
Yeah.
I feel like just the amount of angles it showed me that if I was to, because to be honest, you can do music, like you can study music from home. You don't need to have a degree. Most of my favorite musicians haven't studied it. So it's not essential, but I feel like just the areas of music that I wouldn't have necessarily gone to dig through myself. Like learning just about different cultures' music and learning about different sides of the world and the music that they do, and kind of I feel like there's a lot of history and context that I learned there that I wouldn't have necessarily learned if I was just, you know, YouTubing it at home myself.
So now you've come out of, did you say you're studying at college or uni?
I was at uni, yeah.
So you've come out of uni now, and was it always the plan, like, right, I'm going to do this professionally?
Yeah, I knew throughout the whole of uni. I didn't drop during uni. I was waiting until afterwards, and I dropped like a year after I finished uni.
So what was it like coming out now and it's like, okay, this is the real deal? What was it like for you?
It felt natural. I feel like I was waiting for it for so long.
Okay. Yeah.
I kind of just felt like this is where I'm going, and I felt like I had my eyes on it for so long. It just felt like I couldn't really imagine doing anything else. You know?
And you mentioned you started like rapping with your friends as well. Even though when I hear your music, I feel like you're more singing. Tell us about your choice in how you use your voice.
Yeah, it's definitely more singing now. When I started, it was rapping mainly when I was younger, and then as I've gone on, it's gone a lot more melodic, and I started there was a period where it was somewhere in between, I think, and I started kind of it was like more like melodic rap kind of, and it still kind of jumps in between the two, but yeah, it's definitely become more melodic as time's gone on. And so I've never like properly learned how to sing. I've never like officially gone down that route, but I was kind of just experimenting with my voice really and just trying different things, and it kind of ended up going in this direction, you know.
I mean, you found a sweet spot, because literally when I came across Hill's track I Don't Wanna featuring yourself, it was your vocals that got me.
Yeah, thank you.
This sounds so different, and I think a lot of people could agree that you do sound very, very different from a lot of other artists. And even the choice of music you make is genre blending landing, I'm going to ask the annoying question of like, how would you describe the type of music that you make?
I feel like melodic hip hop, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's sitting in between hip hop and R&B right now. There's some cuts that feel very R&B, some cuts that feel more hip hop based, at least production wise. But I feel like in between those two, somewhat. Yeah.
And now I'm going to ask another annoying question. But if you had to collaborate, well, who are your top 3 artists that you'd love to collaborate with?
In the UK right now, I really like Tendai. You know Tendai?
Oh, yeah. I can hear that.
I love Tendai. I would love to work with Tendai.
I can hear that.
I really like what Jim Legacy's doing.
I can hear that as well. Yeah.
And I really like who else? Me and Gliz been meaning to lock in. I really like what Gliz is doing as well.
Yeah.
That's UK wise. Those are my 3.
Okay, and the thing is, I think that's like the group that I would put you in, because they're all artists very much creating just very different sounds. You know what I mean? So I can definitely hear that as well.
Yeah.
If we take it international now, if you can get in the studio with any artist, right? And maybe you're more making a collaborative project. So let's pick one artist. And I'm just going to say, because you've mentioned him already, you can't say Kendrick.
Okay, fine. Maybe Don Toliver.
Oh, yeah. I can hear all of this.
Yeah?
I can hear this. What about your response outside of the UK? How are you finding that?
In terms of people listening to my music outside of the UK? Yeah, it's cool. It's great to see people messaging me from a bunch of different countries and just looking at the numbers and just seeing who's listening where. It's great. It's super.
If you were to perform out of the UK, I mean, have you already?
Not outside of the UK yet, no.
Where would you go first?
I feel like I'd want to show Europe some love. Maybe like Amsterdam or something.
Yeah.
You know, Paris maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would work, definitely.
Stay Europe for now, and then we can, you know, branch out a little bit.
So now you're dropping a new track called Kalila.
Yep.
And Kalila's breaking you down.
She is.
Tell us about Kalila.
Yeah, I made Kalila last year.
Okay.
And yeah, it's got this kind of bossa nova swing. It's kind of got an up-tempo thing. And I knew as soon as I made it, I knew it would be a perfect follow-up to this track Control that I was sitting on for ages, which I dropped last month. And so, yeah, I knew I needed to drop it in the summer because that's how it feels, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been excited to drop it. So it's dropping at midnight.
And speak to us about the lyrics, because it feels like a relationship breakdown.
It does. I don't know how much more I could say outside of what this song says. I need to be careful here. But yeah, it feels like kind of like a love letter of some sort, I guess, you know. And just trying to find this balance of being as open as possible without saying too much, and just trying to find this balance of saying what I need to say, but without laying everything on the table. You know,
so how do you find that balance as a songwriter? Because
it's hard. It's hard. I feel like I need to sometimes I'll write a line, I'm like, a bit too much. Let me find a way to kind of still get that feeling across without it being maybe as literal. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to spell everything out. You know, I can't really spell everything out, but I want to do it in a way where like the feeling still gets across, but in a way where it's kind of molded in a way where it's kind of, you know, I feel comfortable putting it out and it makes sense being out there. So it's a hard one to find that balance sometimes, you know? Yeah.
So outside of music, what would you say your creative outlets are?
That's a good question. I mean, before I did music, I was a dancer first and foremost.
Do you know what? I was thinking that. You strike me as a dancer.
Yeah, that was my whole thing growing up until I started properly doing music. That was my whole thing. So that's what I was doing until then. So
do you still dance now?
Not properly. I don't train like I used to, but it's still a part of my life, I feel like. And it's still, even in videos or whatever, I kind of move around a little bit in a way where I feel like it was such an integral part of my life. I don't think it will ever disappear completely, you know.
Because let's talk about your visuals as well, because I feel like there's such like a vision with it, and I feel like there is that consistency and just how artistic it feels as well. Quite darkly lit as well, and I would dare to say somewhat gothic in some lenses as well.
Yeah.
Who inspires you when it comes to your visuals?
That's a good question. I like a lot of, right now I really like, of course, Gabriel Moses, what he's doing.
Yeah.
Everything I see, I'm like...
Did you see the exhibition, Cellar?
I did. Yeah. Everything he's doing right now is beautiful. I really like what Ants Live is doing. All of his visuals, unbelievable, you know. Yeah. I feel like, there's so many interesting visuals. And a lot of the inspiration is not just from other music videos or other artists, but just films as well. I watch a lot of films and TV series. And I spend a lot of my time doing that, so I'm always just collecting references if there's a scene I like or just something that's lit in a way that I like, or color graded or whatever, just collecting references. So a lot of it is inspired by things outside of music or music videos, you know.
So if you could give us a film recommendation to watch, maybe also to give us an insight to you, we'll make it a bit harder, like layered.
Yeah.
What film are we watching?
My favorite film is The Shining. Have you seen The Shining?
Yes, it's a classic.
It's a classic. So most people have seen it. That's my favorite film.
Yeah.
And has been for a long time. My dad showed it to me when I was really young. Younger than I should have been, really. It was very strange. He went to, when I was a kid, I was maybe 7 or 8 or something, and he went to pick my mum up from the airport. And so he left me at home and he put the film on. He was like, "Here, watch this. I'm going to go pick your mum up."
This sounds like a prank. Yeah.
It sounds great. And I told, and years later I told him about it and he'd kind of forgotten about it. He just blanked it out. I was like, you know, it was crazy, right? But I loved it. I really loved it.
Wow.
And I feel like it's been a huge part of my life, and yeah, I love everything about it. So every year or so I'll do a little rewatch.
There you go. Maybe you got to do a music video specifically somehow.
I had a track called What's Up Freestyle I did a couple years ago, and there was some influences taken from The Shining.
There we go.
And some influences from Fight Club and a couple other films. That one was quite film driven. It crept in there. It crept into the work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because I know we have a lot of music artists that listen to this show as well, is there any advice you would give them based on maybe times where you have found it incredibly hard to keep going as a music artist, because it's not easy?
Yeah.
So what do you tell yourself, or what keeps you going?
I feel like, firstly, I don't know if I'm in a position to be giving advice yet, but...
you're sat here. I think you are, you know?
I feel like sometimes it's okay to take a little break.
Yeah.
It's not every day has to be harder than the last. I feel like you can sometimes take a little step back, do normal stuff, actual regular life stuff, see your friends, do normal things, take a little breather, and then come back to it. Because if you're sitting obsessing over the work every day, and I've done huge phases of that, and I feel like it's you can't brute force your way through it all the time. So I feel like sometimes taking a breather and kind of it allows you just to zoom out and see it a bit more objectively. So then once you come back into it, you're a bit more ready, and you kind of know how to breach it again. So that would be my advice. I feel like don't try and... There's obviously consistency is important, but I feel like sometimes it's okay to take a little breather and step back.
And I think breathers are part of the process.
Of course,
do you know what I mean?
It
helps, it keeps balance, and also keeps you energized, because you don't want to be drained where you feel like it's taken all the life out of you. Okay, we're going to play Kalila very soon, which is coming out at midnight tonight. So we have got an exclusive. We love this. But I have to ask, do you have any live shows coming up or anything else coming up that we need to keep an eye on? I have no live shows I can speak on as of right now, but... I got a bunch more music coming out this year. Okay. Yeah. So I'm getting visuals ready right now and packaging it right. The music's done. I'm just figuring out the visuals. So yeah, there'll be a lot of new music this year. So where do people go that may have just heard of you right now? Where are we sending them to follow the journey? Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, wherever you normally go, I'm there. Tommy Saint. Yep. Just Tommy Saint on there. Thank you so much for your time. Really, really appreciate it. We are going to play your exclusive track, which I think is only right for you to introduce because you're here. Yes. So I'm going to give it over to you, introduce it, and I'm going to press play. This song is called Kalila. I've been Tommy Saint. Thank you for listening.